how do you make it up in volume if you're losing money on every transaction?
Because we were
I
able
mean,
to cut
unless
over.
the city is supporting, maybe that's what I'm missing.
We're paying the city over $1 million a year, so the city's not supporting anything. We pay the city 5% of our gross revenue every year for the right to serve this community. In addition, we pay the city for internal services they provide.
HR, things of that nature.
Yes.
In order for them to bridge that gap from a labor perspective and not subcontracting, as Bill said, they were able to bridge that 2-point-something cents.
1.6.
Thank you. In order to make that in order to bridge the gap and then make the profit thereafter. And I've attended a handful of the electric board meetings. I think Chris has been there once or twice, and I mean, it makes sense.
It's not the easiest thing to understand, and this probably isn't the right forum to try and explain how the utility rate's built in a way that is easily understandable, and I'm not sure that there is an easy way.
Yeah, it took me a while to understand PCA and a lot of time with Bill and attending meetings to understand that formula and how it supports to bridge that gap. Because it's a commodity at the end of the day, and they've got to be able to have a mechanism in there in order to Bill's point, raise and lower that commodity rate.
Every utility has that. We call it power cost adjustment. I think KSPL may call it fuel factor or fuel charge. We call it power cost because we purchase 99% of our power. We only generate about 1%. KCPL generates essentially all of theirs. I wanted to share with you, we've sat down with finance, and we have a tentative implementation schedule for the recommendation. What we plan to do right now is there will be an article in the February Utility News that will communicate these changes, even though they have zero impact on the customer's bottom line. We're going to communicate it to the customers, and we're going to attempt to implement in the billing cycle of March of 2013.
I do have one quick question, and I think you mentioned that it's without the taxes on your equations in the example here.
That's correct.
Are there any different taxes associated or not associated with the PCA charge that would change the tax cost on this equal amount to a customer?
No.
Okay.
Well, I'd have to ask Laura Amy, but I don't believe that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all taxed at the same rate regardless of what classification? That's all.
Anything else? Anyone? Thank you very much.
So commercial pays the lowest rate. Is that right? 5.9.
Well, they also pay I don't have those rates in front of me, but they also pay a demand factor, which is different. Residential customers pay purely for the energy they consume. Many commercial customers, particularly the large ones, will pay a demand charge in addition to an energy charge.
Is that similar to the service charge the residential customer would pay?
No, they also pay a service charge, yes, they do.
But it looks like, too, that if you have electric heat, you pay more.
Electric heat actually is less.
0.11 cents per kilowatt hour for residential.
Well, it's typically seasonal. So if you look at electric heat, they'll pay one price in the summertime, they'll pay a different price in the wintertime, which is very, very low, significantly lower than other residential.
So is that what the SCON, WCON, so what do those stand for?
I don't remember. It's the rate code that we have on our electric rate schedule. I don't think I brought that with.
So they get down to 4.9 cents per kilowatt hour?
Yes.
During the winter?
Mm-hmm. Under the revised rate layer, yes.
But they pay more the rest of the year?
A little bit more. And we're looking, this change that we're talking about today is the first change. My anticipation is there'll be some others, and so I'll be back in front of you to talk about those changes. You know, we're trying to simplify some of the rates. For example, we have two types of residential heat customers. We've got a single meter residential heat customer, all electric. We have a 2 meter. We'd like to get them on the same rate if possible to simplify, clean up our rates. There was some discussion today. We do have a commercial customer without demand, and we'd like to try to figure out a way to get all of our customers on a demand rate. So we have to look into that to see what that's going to take.
I would assume we don't have very many all-electric residentials.
No, not really. I know, Mayor, the residential 2 meter, we've got like 24 or 25 of them. It seems like we've got 100, Amy, is that?
Residential,
All electric residential, all.
More than that?
Actually, no, we probably have over 300 to 400. A lot of the apartment complexes, the
That's
newer
right.
ones, all
Okay.
came in all electric.
All electric,
So-
okay.
So
About-
even like
about
Verizon
Stoga.
Pros both are, so that really took our numbers.
States,
up.
or is it,
No, they're individual mobile homes in Conestoga.
remind me, are they gas or all electric?
I think they've got gas heat in there. Truthfully, I don't know. I don't think they're all electric.
In Conestoga?
Yeah.
They're mixed. There's a few that are all electric. It's based on the mobile home that's parked there. They're set up for both services. So it depends on the actual mobile home.
Anybody else, questions? Bill Christie? No? Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have time allotted on the agenda for members of the public to make comments about city matters that do not appear on the agenda, or items that are on the agenda not part of a public hearing. That being the case, we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a council member who wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Yes. Item 3.
How would council like to proceed with consent items 1, 2, and 4?
I move we approve consent agenda items number 1, 2, and 4.
Motion Morrow, second Gregorczyk, that we approve consent agenda items 1, 2, and 4. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda item number 3, consider authorizing the city administrator to execute quitclaim deeds for the sale of properties at Gardner Lake. Questions, Larry?
Well, I think I just really wanted to point out that, you know, I think we minimized the number of sales, or the amount, when we said we weren't trying to make a profit, but, you know, a third of the residents, looks like, who had expressed an interest have already paid $52,000, and the next 2/3 could be paying, you know, double that amount if we got them with a higher rate. So that's quite a bit of money. In fact, as I recall, we sold we sell the community center building, one that you wanted to make into a barbecue for $70,000 back, you know, a couple of years ago. So that's a lot of money that we kind of left on the table. But even so, I guess I just wanted to vote on it separately.
Okay. How would council like to proceed with consent item number 3?
I move that we authorize the city administrator to execute quitclaim deeds for the sale of properties at Gardner Lake is listed.
Second.
Motion Freeman, second Morrow, that we authorize city administrator to execute quitclaim deeds for the sale of properties at Gardner Lake. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries. New business item number 1, consider holding a public hearing to discuss the amended Big Bull Creek wastewater treatment plant project